Before I introduce you to my next guest today, I want to make sure that you're aware of two new resources to help you to increase your productivity, clarify your purpose, and improve your communication skills. The first one is our Facebook community called Leadership with Purpose. So it's a private community. So go to Facebook groups, search for Leadership with Purpose, and send a request to be invited into the group. There's a few questions for you to answer, and then live to have you a part of that community of other like-minded leaders. Our team is really excited about launching the Next Level Coaching Roadmap. It's a group coaching format, so highly recommend that you check that out and to get your questions answered. If you're a leader that's experiencing any of the following, this is definitely a group format that's going to help you break through to your next level within leadership and your career. So if you have any fear about moving to the next level in your leadership career, this is a group that you'll want to connect with. If you have loss of confidence, if you're kind of confused, like not knowing really how to tap into the hidden job market, if you have a desire to really to grow to the next level, this is definitely a group that you'll want to be able to connect with. If you want to know how to stay calm in a high stress environment, there's going to be strategies, tips, and resources, conversations all around how to develop skills to do just that. So if you want more information, head over to warrenwandling.com/the next level coaching. And in there on that page, you'll notice more information about the coaching roadmap, but also there's a link for you to schedule a phone call with me so we can help really figure out if this is the right fit to helping you take your career to the next level. Okay, again, that's warrenwandling.com/the next level coaching. Welcome back to another episode of How to Become an Obstacle Buster. I'm your host, Warren Wandling, the show that's dedicated to helping leaders and entrepreneurs to overcome their obstacles, build resilience, and achieve success. And I have a great guest to help us do that, MC Laubscher. Welcome to the show, MC.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, likewise. I know you've already made a global impact in reference to what you specialize, but I know our listeners are really looking forward to what you have to share in our show of breaking through obstacles so they continue becoming financially successful. So MC is a dynamic entrepreneur, investor, best-selling author, dedicated to empowering business owners through innovative wealth strategies, is the founder of Producer Wealth. He enhances financial well-being across the United States, while his educational platform, Cashflow Ninja, has influenced over 7 million people globally. That's phenomenal, MC.
Thank you. Yeah, I even when you share that, it just blows my own mind still. I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have reached a lot of people just discussing business, investing, finance, economics, all the fun stuff.
Right. So for those that might not be familiar with your work, can you share with our listeners just a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I'm originally from South Africa. I came to the United States in 2001, a backpack, a suitcase,
Oh
a
my
sense of
goodness.
humor and a sense of adventure, and a couple of $100. And that's how I ended up in the United States. I ended up playing sports here to about 2007, 2008. While I was playing sports and traveling all over the United States and parts of the world, I then started to learn everything I can about business and about investing. And I actually took action, started a real estate business in 2001 while I was still playing sports. And learn all the lessons that you need to learn in business, right? Faced a lot of adversity, not just on the sports field, but also in the business field, trying to grow my real estate business. As I was in my real estate business, what we did was we bought single family properties and trying to grow and scale that single family portfolio. I came across a very interesting strategy through one of my friends at that point, which was a business owner and an investor. And it's a strategy that is shared in a lot of family offices around the United States. They were a very affluent family. I started to look at that strategy, implemented and executed that myself in my own business, and really started to see massive results. So in 2015, I started my own firm helping business owners all across the United States implement and execute advanced strategies when it comes to finance in their business of what I learned and implemented and executed personally. And that was in 2015. And we started virtually, right? We started a virtual
Oh,
business.
wow.
It was very challenging, let me tell you, back then. And it was a big educational component to it too, right? Because not only were you consulting online,
Mm-hmm.
but you you also had to educate people of why it's beneficial to consult online. And then, of course, 2020, the entire game changed. And in 2016, to supplement my business, what I'm already doing, I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn and study and meet interesting people and network. I started a podcast called Cashflow Ninja,
Mm-hmm.
focusing on business and investing, and never dreamt of what that would have turned into. But as you mentioned, we reached over 7 million people in about 180 countries, and it turned into a digital education business. And that also helped my existing business, Producers Wealth, quite a bit. So today, in today's environment, which has a lot of uncertainties for business owners, there's a lot of fear in the
Mm-hmm.
environment today. I love sharing the message of the strategy that we teach that I call the Get Wealthy for Sure strategy at Producers Wealth, that we help business owners and investors implement and execute.
Well, that's a kind of amazing story, right? In reference to making it to the States and then being able to get after it, if you will, in reference to be successful and overcoming obviously a lot of obstacles to be able to achieve the level of success you have achieved. So, do you still do this, the single family homes, or you specialize only in your new strategy?
That's a great question. So, I still have my investment portfolios. So I've been an
Mm-hmm.
investor now for what, 23 years,
Uh
23,
huh.
24 years. So I'm still an investor. That is one of my businesses, but my main focus is Producers Wealth and sharing the Get Wealthy for Sure strategy. So that business is a big passion of mine. That's what gets
Mm-hmm.
me up in the morning, excited, and excited to work with the producers, as I call them, the producers and the creators. And that's why I named my firm Producers Wealth too, because we help the helpers, the producers and the
Mm-hmm.
creators out in the marketplace.
Yeah, excellent. So, what do you think is the biggest obstacle that your clients encounter? So, maybe focus specifically on that product alone. What are obstacles your clients face?
Yeah. So when it comes to business owners, there's a couple of challenges. So the big one that I see constantly is, and everything relates to the financial side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's great just to step away from your business and look at your business. And that's what we do. And that's how we uncover these things. But the biggest challenge that I see that business owners have is when they start a business, you're kind of in startup phase and you're working tirelessly, blood,
Mm-hmm.
sweat, and sometimes tears. It all goes together. And eventually you get the business off the ground and the business starts to grow. It becomes profitable. And now you're doing really well. You're kind of now in growth mode. Now, when you're in startup mode, in the startup
Mm-hmm.
phase, you cannot get a financial professional, legal professional, a tax professional to even sit down with you because on a financial statement, you basically look broke, right? Because you're all
Mm-hmm.
in. All of your capital, all different types, including your financial capital, is tied up in your business. But when you're
Mm-hmm.
successful and the business starts to take off, now everybody's banging on your door and trying to have a sit down with you. So what I usually find and see is they come in, they meet with business owners, and then they say, we have a great strategy for you. Let's diversify some capital out of your business. Give it to us. We'll put it in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds in a
Mm-hmm.
very well diversified portfolio. And that sounds great. But what happened at that exact point in time is the capital that you've used as a business owner to grow your
Mm-hmm.
business is now being positioned in a vehicle that funds other people's businesses. I love Apple. Apple is a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal company. I use Apple products. I'm recording this on an Apple product. But Tim Cook doesn't need more of my capital to grow his business. My business needs more of my capital
Mm-hmm.
to grow it. So what we start to see is kind of like a leveling of the growth. And they kind of hit the stage where they're just They're just feeling like we've kind of slowed down. We're just not growing as we used to. And that's one of the first things that we identify. The second thing that we also see is from a cash flow management perspective and finance. The big mistake that business owners make is that in the seasons of cash flow, as I call it, there are seasons of cash flow. Every business owner
Yeah.
knows this if they're listening to this. In your summer, which is your highest revenue generating months, and every single business owner listening to me right now, if I had to put you on the spot and ask you which month is generally your highest revenue generating month, they'll just name it right off right off the top of
Yeah.
the head, right? So, like May, for example, is mine. That's your summer. That's your highest generating revenue month.
Mhm.
Then we also have your winter on the opposite
Yes.
side of that, which is your lowest generating revenue months. So you usually have your winter where there's really nothing going on. Your business is slowed down significantly. This, by the way, is August for my business. So that's why
Okay.
I take a lot of August off, because there's not
Yeah.
a lot going on. Everybody's at the beach, getting ready for Labor Day weekend. And then they come back in September, right? So you have your winter, and then usually
Mhm.
your spring is your marketing campaigns. You're generating new ideas, messages you're going to put out in the marketplace, which then drives all of the traffic and the leads and prospects to get into your summer, to your highest revenue months. And then it tapers off against in the fall. It starts to
Mhm.
slow down and it goes into the winter. Now, during all those seasons, your business have overheads, and some of them
Mhm.
fixed overheads. So bills still need to be paid. Employees still need to be paid through payroll.
Yeah.
You have all these expenses. And so some of the challenges then become, because business owners have positioned capital outside of their business, as I mentioned in the first big mistake that I see, they now don't have the capital to pay for all these overheads and these fixed
Mhm.
expenses. So what do? They have to go to the bank and get a credit line and place more of the assets and the receivables of
Mhm.
the business as collateral. And it's a vicious cycle, because you're always having to run to the bank, extend credit lines and so forth, and then pay those down. And you just do it over and over and over. So those
Mhm.
are two of the biggest mistakes that I also see. And then the third one, because they always come in three, right? The third
Typically, yes.
the third biggest mistake that I see that owners make is that they think that they can get a better return always in another
Mhm.
vehicle outside of their business. Now, everything that I've seen, and maybe
Mhm.
if you're a business owner listening to this, you're probably shaking your head and saying, yes, there is no financial advisor or financial product that can generate the returns for you that you can inside of your business. It's just not possible. The returns of capital deployed within your own business
Mhm.
that it can generate on that capital for you, I mean, there's nothing that can touch that. So that's another mistake. They're always looking for something outside of it, where it's usually right in front of them. Your business is your biggest return on the capital which you can deploy.
Interesting. So I assume that's part of the tying into your producer's wealth strategy is helping business leaders change their paradigm of how they use their investment into themselves instead of in another vehicle.
Yeah, that's part of the get wealthy for sure strategy for business owners. Is now the question becomes, where do you position capital? Because
Uh huh.
MC, you've shared with us all these challenges, and we see it.
Hmm.
It's there. We're most likely doing it. What solutions can you offer to this? Because it's not pleasant. Yes, we lose control of capital that we put in other people's businesses. We don't manage quite as efficient as possible our own cash flow management cycle. And yes, I know I can't get a better return anywhere else in my own business. We hear this, but where do we position capital? So if you look at the first thing that people go to is banks. Now,
Hmm.
banks at this stage, yeah, I mean, I still have a bank account. It's still useful. There's a lot of
Hmm.
things that a bank can offer for you, but I need to position the majority of my capital there? The other and banks, by the way, too, we've seen 7 banks go under. In the
Mm-hmm.
past 12 to 18 months. We have had, 11 been downgraded, 10 more put on watch lists by rating agencies. So there's a lot of issues with banks. We've seen Warren Buffett right now selling out of his Bank of America shares at a record pace. So there's
Mm-hmm.
banks, is not the most desirable place to position large amounts of capital. Like I said, I have a bank account, I still use it, but that's not where the majority of the capital is. Then you look at
Mm-hmm.
bonds, which has usually been a pretty good strategy. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of financial institutions that will take it as collateral. But the reason why banks are in trouble is because of bonds. You had
Mm-hmm.
interest rate spikes. So banks are in trouble because of the money that they position in bonds. So you have interest rate risk and you also have counterparty risk. Counterparty meaning the institution that issues the debt, they're not very solvent. Pick your favorite country, whether it be,
Mm-hmm.
your
Yeah.
federal government, your state, provincial government, your local government. Most of them are insolvent. So then you look at another strategy, which a lot of people have overlooked, is life insurance. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
that, people cringe because they hear the word insurance and life insurance, and number one, people don't like insurance. Nobody does because you pay premiums like with auto insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Something bad not to happen, and when something bad does happen, what do? They raise your premiums, and then when you eventually arm wrestle them to pay for it. And life insurance, most people think somebody has to pass away for someone else
Mm-hmm.
to get a
Right.
payout. But there's a separate type of insurance structured specifically as a supercharged savings account. So you can position capital in life insurance, and we use a dividend paying whole life insurance policy with a mutual life insurance carrier
Mm-hmm.
structured specifically for this high cash value structure, as we
Mm-hmm.
call it, to position capital in, because the money that you're putting in there is guaranteed. And most of
Mm-hmm.
your premium, by the way, usually 70 to 80% goes straight towards cash value, meaning your savings, where most people
Mm-hmm.
just think the premiums that they pay, because that's how insurance is sold at retail level. Most of the premiums
Mm-hmm.
that they pay is just for the death benefit. We structure this for the savings element of it. So the money in there is guaranteed. It's guaranteed to grow. You
Mm-hmm.
also get to participate in dividends when insurance carriers pay them. And some of the mutual life insurance carriers have paid them every single year consecutively since 1847.
Hmm.
So it's not guaranteed, but great track record. And the growth inside of these policies is tax free. You have
Hmm.
guaranteed access to the capital in these policies, tax free. You also, as a business owner, this is very important, have privacy. It's a private contract. Nobody knows that you have it unless you have to disclose it, right? So the current
Mm-hmm.
president of the United States, Joe Biden, had to disclose all of his finances, obviously going into the Oval Office. He has 6 of these policies personally. It's the only way that people would find out. So this is private. It also has asset protection in most states, all 50 states, which lawsuits against business owners go up in
Mm-hmm.
bad economies. So you have all of these guarantees. You have all of these things that are certain. You have things that are predictable, which then
Mm-hmm.
provides clarity and confidence. So you have a vehicle that you have with capital growing predictably, guaranteed, tax free, that you can access at any time to grow your business, invest in technology, hire employees, and so forth.
Excellent. So I want to step back and look at your when you got started. What do you think contributed to your success? What strategies that would you'd say that really helped you to get where you're currently at?
I think I'm very coachable. I think that's the
Oh,
number one
that's.
strategy. I always assume that I don't know something. This is a lesson
Mm-hmm.
that I learned from
Mm-hmm.
a very successful friend early on as a very young man in my 20s, which was probably the best thing that I could have done at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at him. He was much older, very successful. Came from an ultra affluent family, and he always had the assumption that somebody else knew something that he didn't. So he was very coachable, always looked for mentors, always looked for coaches. And I looked at that and said, I'm going to model that behavior because I want to be successful just like him. And successful people need to be coachable. They need to assume that there's something that they don't know.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. It seems simple, right? And most people will gloss over it. And there's other things that can get in the way in reference to maybe pride or whatever the issue is, the leader that they want to figure out themselves. But if you want to shortcut your success, that's a great strategy. So I'm really curious, how do you avoid the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur?
The biggest challenge that entrepreneurs face is
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty. And
Mm.
you know, growing up as a young man in South Africa, it was a gift. I grew up during a very uncertain time in our country's history. We had the fall of the apartheid regime. Nelson Mandela was released from
Mm-hmm.
prison. We had our first democratically held election, and there was so much uncertainty during that time. You know, I shared with people that at one stage our country didn't have a flag in that transition period. That's how much uncertainty there was. I was at high
Mm-hmm.
school at the time, and you just see the high school flag being raised in the morning. And where they used to have the country's flag, there wasn't even a
Mm-hmm.
flag, right? So I think the biggest thing challenges is uncertainty. So I try to have things structured in my own life and have a structure in all areas, whether it be my family, whether it be my finances, whether it be my business and whether it be my investments. I have structures in place that provide certainty, that provide
Mm-hmm.
security, that provides predictability, which then gives me clarity and confidence to attack every single day.
Yeah, I love the word clarity that you used because as entrepreneurs, they need that clarity because we don't know when the next disruption might happen, right? And entrepreneurs need to have clarity of what they're focused on because that eliminates that process and this distraction.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it. If you were an entrepreneur in March 2020, business
Yes.
owner, right? So it's funny. I was talking with a friend. It's almost that we have this collective trauma because we've
Uh-huh.
blocked out those 2 days. There were like 2 or 3 days where everything was shut down. And then nobody knew what was going to happen, right? This was before
Right.
PPP loans and bailouts and any of this stuff. And people have blocked out that time period. Now, that time period of uncertainty. Most
Yeah.
people were shocked. They didn't know what was going on. If you had things in place that did provide a level of certainty still in
Mm-hmm.
during that time, there was incredible opportunities. I have business owners in my community that were able to capitalize on opportunities even during that time. So yeah, it's it's a great thing to have clarity and confidence.
Yes. So tell us how you came up with cash flow mastery, becoming your own source of financing.
Yeah, so the message that I share with Get Wealthy for Sure and the strategy of Get Wealthy for Sure, where we use these life insurance contracts to position capital, if you implement and execute this blueprint, you will always have a source for financing. You will always
Hmm.
have access to capital to grow your business and expand, have confidence because you know you have cash reserves and you never feel beholden to a bank. You know,
Hmm.
the worst time to walk into a bank as a business owner is when you really, really need it because
Hmm.
you're put at such a disadvantage then in that negotiation. So I know what that felt early on, and I never wanted to be in that situation ever again. And this strategy helps our clients when even if they need additional financing, they go from a position of strength. But for the most part, they never ever need financing from an institution ever again because they've built up this pool of capital that they can always pull from. The nice thing about this, too, when I talk to entrepreneurs and business owners, is they always have an exit strategy. Maybe they're going to sell their business or
Hmm.
sell the business to the children, or there's kind of a succession plan of the children taking over the business. And their biggest bet for retirement is that they're going to exit with a nice sell and have millions
Hmm.
of dollars, or sell it to the children creatively, or through some succession plan, still take income from the business. And I look at that and said, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Most people have done that
Hmm.
successfully. But what if you're able to do that? Let's just say sell your business and exit for millions of dollars, and then you get to walk away with a life insurance policy with millions of dollars in a tax free, in addition
Hmm.
to your windfall of selling your business. And in the meantime, all the while, you always had a pool of capital to finance
Hmm.
your business. So it just provides a lot more clarity and a lot more certainty, predictability.
So, what's the strategies that you found effective transforming your limiting beliefs about money into a mindset of abundance? Which I'm sure there's might be listeners today that somewhere along their line they have some limiting beliefs. Money doesn't grow on trees, whatever those beliefs are growing up. That's really holding them back to even consider the ideas that you've shared so far on this show that are could be life changing if they decide to embrace them.
How I've tried to overcome limiting beliefs, especially when it comes to money, is if I look at myself as the asset, which every single business owner, you're the you're the greatest asset of your business. So what I've always tried to do is add very very high level skills, and I call it skill stacking. So,
Okay.
for example, you could be a great finance person and be a finance master, but let's add some marketing to that. Can you also then become a good marketer? Can you also be good at sales? Can you also then be very very good at operations? Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you add these levels and skill stack these levels, then all of a sudden, you have mastery there that you can run your business very, very well and confidently as a CEO. Now, what gives me really big confidence and makes me overcome all the scarcity stuff is that as a business owner and having added these skills, I always know that there's going to
Mm-hmm.
be problems and challenges in the marketplace. And my job as a business owner is to go in there and provide solutions to all of these problems and challenges in the marketplace, taking people from where they are now
Mm-hmm.
with a problem or a challenge to where they want to be without that problem and the challenge. And through adding those skills, it gives me confidence that I can do that. So that's how I've overcome it because, money and capital, and especially when it comes to the scarcity of money, it's simply a byproduct of solving all
Uh-huh.
of these problems and challenges in the marketplace. So that gives me confidence, and that has helped me overcome it. There's a financial capital formula that I've come up with. When you take your capital, your
Uh-huh.
personal, your human capital, and you times that with your relationship capital, that will result in financial capital. So as a business owner, solving problems in the marketplace, and then know how to generate financial capital, that gives me
Mm-hmm.
confidence and takes me out of scarcity.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love your concept of skill stacking.
Thank you.
Because one that gives the listeners the ability to don't like there's other skills other than what you specialize in that's going to enhance your ability, and that might give them more confidence in the economy to be able to, if they have any limiting beliefs, to let go of those limiting beliefs as they increase their level of confidence.
Absolutely. And regardless of what economy you're in, you're
Mm-hmm.
always going to need to put your message out, market. You're
Mm-hmm.
always going and attract the right prospects and clients. You're
Yeah.
always going to need to be able to convert them to customers or clients. And you're always going to need to fulfill the product and services which you have sold them through your operation. So you add those skills and in any economy, you're gonna overcome limiting beliefs.
Yes. So leadership, I believe, is influence, right? So what top strategies do you share with your clients to make an impact from increasing results?
Authenticity.
Oh,
I
okay.
think being authentic and also being always honest and brutally honest, they
Mm-hmm.
kind of go hand in hand, right? If you have a brand that's authentic and stands for authenticity and brutal honesty, and there's an
Mm-hmm.
integrity to align those, I think you're always going to be able to influence people. I think that in the world that we live in today, there's so much going on social media and
Yeah.
media and so forth, and a lot of these things they don't feel real because they're not. I don't know what level of AI is involved in it, but people are smart enough to figure out that most of this is not real. So I think that leaders that step up, they're always real, they're always honest and brutally honest, and they have integrity. I think they're always going to be able to influence other people.
Yeah, excellent. So I believe that success leaves clues, right? And one of those clues are the books that either leaders listen to, because there's great tools like Audible, or read. Is there one or two books that you can share with our listeners that really made an impact in your business?
Absolutely. So, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert
Oh,
Kiyosaki is one
yeah.
of the first books that really influenced me. Profit First on Michael Michalowicz is also a
Yeah.
fantastic book. And
That is a
then,
great book.
yeah, and then Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash was also
Hmm.
a book that changed my life. So, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki really changed my paradigm of how I think and how I see the
Hmm.
world. And one of his messages still resonates with me today. Where in the book he shares the rich don't work for money; they work to learn. So I
Hmm.
make sure
Right.
that every single day, even running my businesses, I learn something new. Michael Michalowicz with Profit First is a fantastic model for business owners. Knowing what is the main thing, what is the main thing, right? We got to
Right.
generate profit
Yeah.
first, and then of course Nelson Nash's Becoming Your Own Banker just shared, the strategy which we help clients with at Producers Wealth of how to become your own bank, how to become the own source for financing everything that you need for your family and your business.
Well, excellent. Well, I know you probably have other projects that you're working on. Is there anything special project that you're working on that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, right now it's our book Get Wealthy for sure, and we're spending so
Okay.
much time and energy just on this project. But our next project too is we're going to start running family office boot camps. We have a lot of clients that are looking to model family offices. Which family
Hmm.
offices is just wealth management firm that manages the wealth of a family, a
Hmm.
wealthy family. Usually, they have a net worth of $100 million and up. So they have a team of advisors all on the same page working inside of that family office as a business. So what we're looking to do is teach people exactly what they do inside of those family offices, all the intangible and tangible things and assets. And my philosophy is you don't have to be a Rockefeller to do what the Rockefellers do. So we kind of bring
Hmm.
that concept to our family office boot camp.
Well, excellent. Well, I know our listeners will want to be able to connect with you. What's the best way for them to be able to reach out?
If they go to producerswealth.com/OB, I've put a page together for all of your listeners. Just want to share my appreciation for having me on.
Yeah.
If they want to learn more on that page, what they'll find is that they can get a copy of my book, Get Wealthy for Sure, the number one financial strategy for business owners to multiply wealth predictably. Right now, we're shipping a free paperback book to folks. They only pay for shipping and handling. This was a number one Amazon bestseller recently. And then also, there's just some more information and content of our strategies, presentations, and so forth. And also a link if they want to have a conversation with us and learn more about how they can improve the efficiency around their finance for their businesses. So it's at producerswealth.com/OB.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for providing that link as well as offering your book. You said at no cost. I think that's what you said, right?
Yes, just pay for shipping. So what it
Yep.
costs us to
Yeah.
ship the book we give away for free. So listeners can just help us pay for shipping, and we'll ship the book out to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you so much for sharing that. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today, MC, sharing your tips and strategies. I think to really help our listeners to break through those obstacles to achieve success.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. Enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, likewise. Definitely enjoyed our conversation as well. Well, this is your host, Warren Wandling, saying until next time, be resilient and be an obstacle buster.